I ran down.
Rachel and I want to thank you all for being here. You know, this is our last seminar of the year, but next month we're going to have a big party in December. So, and it's going to be at our new office, which is right around the corner. So we're going to be celebrating, we're going to have lots of fun and cheer, and it'll be just an open house, and we want people to come and celebrate with us.
And it's our 3rd year anniversary of working together. So we're excited about that too. Yeah. And speaking of working together, how's real estate, Nancy?
Oh, real estate's been interesting. We had 28 sold properties last month.
Condos.
Which were condos. The highest one was $4 million. A condo on the beach, probably in Bonnywood. And the lowest one is 565, which is over in Dearborn in Goleta, which is probably a 1-bedroom. Average time in the market is 26 days, and there was 28 that sold.
And for properties, for homes, we had 73 sold last month. The average was $4,137,000. The highest price was $55 million. The lowest price was $870,000, and that was on 116 West Mitchell Terrena. Average market time 38 days. And without further ado, we'd love to introduce our amazing speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to introduce Allou Guthmiller. Did I say that correctly? Beautiful. A dynamic facilitator in the art of human and laughter to build rapport. With a deep background in holistic wellness and stress management, Allou has helped countless individuals harness the power of positive humor to communicate, connect, and thrive. She has delivered impactful seminars on topics ranging from reconnective healing and nurturing oneself to the power of genius and cultivating abundance. A graduate of the renowned Humor Project in Saratoga Springs, New York, Allou has also made TV appearances in Washington, D.C., and was invited to speak on Money Talks here in Santa Barbara. As the author of Healing Power of Money, Nuggets for Secret Success and Support, The Navigator Within, and 133 guidance cards for overcoming stuckness, I like that word. Allou brings a wealth of wisdom, experience, and a contagious sense of joy to her work. Please join Nancy and I in giving a warm welcome to Allou Guthmiller, positive humor extraordinaire, who will guide us in an embracing humor as the best medicine for life's challenges.
Well, I can't wait to see what I've got to say. How many of you like to laugh? Can I see a show of hands? Leave the hands up if you didn't get enough exercise this morning. So, in the next while, I'm going to cover some of the health benefits, because I'm a nurse, of why it's so important to laugh more. We'll look at some of the research that they've done, how to communicate with it. We'll look at destructive humor and healing humor. And there's a choice in there how we use it, and it can help us. And then we'll look at ways to look for humor in our environment in order to face adversity, and especially as we get older. So, start with, I'd like to share with you my own story, where working in a hospital, I was working, this was after I went through the humor program, and we had a doctor that was a cancer specialist, but for some reason, he always was angry in a level. He was great with the patients, but the staff, any excuse he had, he would blow up. Everybody was afraid of him, including me. So I thought, how can I reach this person? Because I was like, whenever he was around, everybody was. We would just run. And so one day I thought, let me try a little joke, a one-liner. And we happened to get into the elevator at the same time. And I asked him, would you like to hear a little joke? And he just kind of looked at me, And I saw that the elevator was just about to open so I could exit. And I said, what did one wall say to the other wall? And he looked at me, and as I'm getting out, I said, meet you in the corner, and smiled as the door shut. So whenever I saw him, I would share a one-liner with him. And this went on for months. Sometimes he'd laugh, he'd always smile. And one day, I was on 9th floor, and he starts screaming. He says, where's the nurse taking care of this patient? And I came around the corner, and everybody points to me, And I go, oops, inside. And he said to me, would you call the resident stat? And I said, sure. Stat means immediately. So I called the resident. The resident comes running, and he laid into him. And I thought about it later. Why did he lay into him? It was really me he should have been yelling at. And then I thought about it later, and I realized, well, maybe he didn't want to dry up his joke line. And maybe just because I just treated him as a human being. And so that was a powerful learning lesson, and I remember later, he came on the floor a few weeks later, and my son was with me, and he said, your mom's the best nurse. And I'm thinking to myself, he doesn't even know me, he's nothing. And I thought, all right, I'll leave that one alone. So what I would like you to do is to break into groups of 5. I have some one-liner jokes, and I would like you to read them to each other. Now, if there's any you really like, take a picture of it, okay? Because I've got another seminar to go afterwards, and then I know how many are in here. So break into groups of 5. You may have to move around a bit. If you can do it quickly. Okay? There's 5.
Yeah, 5.
5. Maybe some of you can go over here.
You really mean 5?
Yeah,
Exactly.
5 or 6.
Oh, okay. Well, then I can stay.
It's just,
You got 5, you be 5.
okay, yeah, go ahead. And you can open, reach into the bag, each take a handful and start reading them to each other. Take turns. You may have to go over here, would you? As long as you can walk, that'd be wonderful. Yeah, please, that'd be wonderful. A handful. Take a handful, don't be stingy. All right, go ahead, start reading them. Don't get stingy. Don't get stingy here. Here you go. Just now. Go for it. Take turns. Take turns. Read so you can hear each other. Just go for it. Yeah, don't be stingy. Just hand them out. You can put them back later.
No, good idea.
Okay, good. Grab plenty. Don't be stingy. Grab plenty. Take a few. few. Take a few. Take a few.
We'll go
Keep
around
reading.
again.
Yes, yes, yes.
They're having fun.
Lightens teaching tool.
Yeah.
You don't have to memorize long jokes
Yeah.
to establish a relationship.
Did you hear the latest rumor? Seth under construction, and whenever I find it, what did one elevator say to another elevator?
I think they're liking this song.
Do you know who Jeannie West is?
Which one?
Right here in the she runs the senior expo. She just lost her brother last week, so she's a dynamo, but really wonderful to see her laughing. It's so good.
Flowered.
Yeah, she's amazing.
I'm going to leave them do this a little bit until
It's so special.
5 minutes,
Yeah.
just because they're interacting and laughing. Literally, when I do 2 hours, I teach a little and then have them play. Teach a little bit, but each one is built on the other.
Yeah, so special. Thank you.
Yeah, well, thanks. I'm so glad I got this thing up.
Yes.
Hopefully it continues. Take another minute and then bring it to closure, and you can put them back into the bag. And when you're done, put them back into the bag. You can bring it to closure. So the nice,
Is everybody down? Yay!
put them in the bag. As Victor Borge once said, laughter is the shortest distance between two people. It's a way of connecting. I always find if you can find a way to make people smile or laugh, it's a form of generosity. It uplifts the energy. Mae West used to say, you only live once, and if you do it right, once is enough. So, to connect with others. I used to go into the grocery store sometimes. You know, they're just so bored. Ding, 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 ding. And I just say, you want to hear a quick joke? And you're always give them a smile, and they remember you. You know, so it's not difficult. You don't have to remember long lines, just a short one. You know, recently, one of my friends, she knows she should exercise. She knows she should exercise. And I said, well, you can just say it's a form of resistance exercise. You know, finding ways just to lighten it up. So next, let us look, you know, when we laugh, anyway, I wanted to share that piece. Laughter and tears, crying, both clear the emotional body, the thymus. For me, I'd rather laugh, but every time you laugh, it keeps you from getting emotionally constipated. Just saying. So let us look at 7 reasons to laugh. If I can move this thing along. There we go. So one of the things, the physiology of laughter is we have like Dr. William Fry, who was a psychiatrist at the Stanford Medical School. And he used to say that if you have 10 minutes of laughter, really robust laughter, it's like rowing for 10 minutes in a boat. It's a good workout. Because when you laugh, guess what? You can't think about anything else. Your whole body starts shaking, right? You get everything into it. Your heart gets beating, and you know, if you really get into it, your whole body moves. And they're found that it's a great antagonist against heart disease. Something to think about. It creates deep relaxation in the body. And then, have you heard of Dr. Bernie Siegel? Probably many of you have, yes. He also wrote that Love, Medicine, and Miracles, and it's really our internal attitude towards ourselves that creates our illnesses a lot of times. You know, learning how to be gentle with ourselves, learning to be at peace, and using humor. It helps, especially when we do screw-ups. And trust me, I got plenty of them, and I have fun sharing them. No problem in that department. And it also helps with, it's like if you're really angry a lot and you don't find a way to work with it, it goes into your body and it makes you sick. So we're really responsible for our own inner attitudes and how we affect others as well. And then there was, Lee Burke, an immunologist. I have to look at their names, I can forget them at my young age. Loma Linda University, and he did research on how the hormones are affected, and the WBCs, which are the white blood cells in our body. They actually increase, and it builds our immune system. And it suppresses the harmful ones, epinephrine, some of the things that the stress relieves, when we laugh, it breaks up that cycle. Dr. Norman Cousins, you're probably familiar, just to remind us, because we forget. And he had a collagen disease. And if he laughed for 10 minutes, really a good belly laugh, he'd get 2 hours of pain-free sleep. And he watched a lot of Candid Camera. So, so instead of putting the news on at night, what a way to go to sleep. It just doesn't it? Find something that's inspirational. Find something that might make you smile. You can look at what's happening in the world briefly, but don't soak it up every morning and night. Oof, So just saying. And again, when you're laughing with your family, your friends, it's a bonding. It's a bonding that happens. Now, let's look at therapeutic humor and destructive humor. Therapeutic humor is a bonding, inclusive. Destructive humor is where we might laugh at someone and make them the butt of the joke. And I'm sure all of us had that experience, where somebody's laughing at you and you suddenly feel like sandpaper rubbing. And that's laughing at someone's expense. It's like Chris Rock had written in, Will Smith, the Academy Awards. Now, if he would have gone and told him ahead of time, this is what I'm planning to do, and got permission, that scene would have never happened. But that's just, he didn't understand what's destructive humor, or maybe he did, I don't know, but I'm just saying, it's being conscious of it. I worked in ER for a while. And in the emergency room, we really see some gory things. In fact, sometimes you just, oh my God, it's like a deer in the headlights. And so there we sometimes used really gallow humor. But we have to look who's around us. If there are family members, they go berserk. But it helps us. When we laugh, it frees up the brain so we can creatively work. You have more solutions, creativity comes in. And so there's a place for everything. However, just to be mindful, the kind of humor we use. One builds community, one tears down. And, there's a time and a place for everything, but I find to be mindful. And for me, I'm about creating harmony, and so I'm mindful. I remember even in the hospital, sometimes I come up and ask, would you like to hear a joke? And one woman said no. And I didn't. And later I found out her sister had died the day before. So we can't always judge. We just don't know. But the attempt, it's useful, I have found in my life. So let us look at Maintaining a healthy sense of humor. Sometimes it's good to find the things that stress you and finding a way to poke fun at it. I remember, this is a really good example. I used to get really kind of stressed getting to work in the morning. I'd have so much to throw into the car, put the kid in, everything, put my coffee cup on top of the car. And one day my son's telling one of my friends, he says, I have a very irresponsible mother. She keeps breaking coffee cups. Well, some part of me like, well, that's true, but it was annoying. So I got home. It was a little bit of an older car, not like a brand new one. I went up and got my glue gun, took a mug up and glued it up top. Well, my goodness. And needless to say, it took that pressure of speeding along. I just internally something let go. You know, and I'd have these, you know, they'd be pointing to the car. So sometimes, sometimes, yeah, you just gotta look. You just gotta find ways to think about something that really bothers you. I remember I used to get telephone calls. It must have been somebody Spanish that had the previous number. And they'd break on Spanish. Well, I knew they had the wrong number. So at one point I'd go, click, plaf, ahu, si. I'd carry on. They'd say Spanish, carry on. Finally, they'd hang up. And one day my son came around the corner and he said, Mom, are you all right? But I just noticed when I did that, I didn't get so mad. So just find ways of stuff that bugs you and find a way to creatively do something different with it, you know? So, next thing, using humor to face adversity, especially as we get younger. I had a friend, there were, I think, 6 or 7 of us at the table, and the man had developed Parkinson, and for a long time, there was no fallout from it. And this particular day, his wife had made a beautiful homemade soup, and she served everyone, and we were ready to eat, and suddenly he's starting to really shake. And so then he laid it back down, and everybody kind of noticed and, just waited. And then he went down again to pick up some soup, shaking. Finally, he just looked at everybody and he said, well, I don't know about you guys, but I'm going for it. And in that moment, that was such a loving gesture because it made everybody else at the table feel comfortable with what's going on, because why hide it? Stuff happens to us as we get younger, What was that one joke? I don't know if you guys saw it in there about when you go to the doctor about your short-term memory. Yes. and pay in advance. The doctor wanted them to pay in advance because they had short-term memory. That was one of the jokes in there. I just remembered that. And another thing too, like not recently, this was a number of years back, but one of my friends, her husband had passed and I hadn't seen her for a long time. It was like, I don't know, a month later. And I had spent the night, I was on the couch, and in the morning she came down the stairs and just holding the urn. And she's polishing it, and she says, my husband still has a way of keeping me awake all night long. Well, that took me out. And when we laugh, sometimes it allows us to touch something that is almost don't even want to go there. But when we do, it begins the healing process. Just that little bit. I know when my mother died, oh my God, the fiasco things that happened. We laughed the whole way through. Or we could have got really upset with perfectionism of how things should flow. So I'm just saying that, you can use it. And, you can also put some humor glasses on while you look for it. In our environment, it's there. And then share it with somebody. I remember years back, there was in South Dakota, in front of a church, it had Jesus walks on waters, and then the evening service it had for 6 o'clock. Come search for Jesus. It's out there. Silly stuff happens. And I remember, when I was more serious, in England, I worked for a little while in one of their hospitals, and I was on the ward, and at that time we had a lot of punk rockers with green hair, really green hair. And this fellow came in for appendectomy, and he had been prepped that night before. And the next afternoon when I came in, I told him I was going to check his dressings. And when I looked, somebody had written on it in a black marker, "So sorry, we had to mow the lawn while you were out." Listen, that took me out. The British humor's something else. That's the last place I could have imagined. I didn't know what to do with myself. I just literally had to leave. Anyway, it is out there. So putting on our humor glasses. And then what gets in the way of humor? The blocks. We have this image. Nobody's going to take us serious. Or even from a young age. When kids are little, they laugh up to 400 times a day. We're lucky, even me, if I can laugh 15 times a day. Fear of failure, looking foolish, you're not acting your age. But actually, when we use humor, it can be inclusive, and you actually create a good environment where people want to be around you. So just, it's something to be aware of. And I don't have time. Well, you can laugh at your gaffes, right? We all have them. So let me see what else we will go next. Looking for humor in your environment. Yes, that we did. We looked at that. If you've got a bad hair day, put a wig on. I've done that. Going to the hardware store. Of course, some people will just pretend like that's the most normal thing that could happen because they don't know what to do. Or others will start laughing. In New Zealand, my girlfriend and I used to go to the markets like that. Oh my God, we have more fun. Just to lighten up. We don't always have to be serious. In the hospital, sometimes I remember working night shift, and sometimes I'd see the doctor or somebody coming in, just, you could just tell they were exhausted. And I'd start walking like this down the hallway in the middle of the night. And immediately they'd start laughing, We're just too darn serious. Even myself sometimes. So, I'd like you to think of the most embarrassing experience you've ever had. I'll quickly share one of mine, and then we'll break into little groups, and you can share. And whoever wants to share on all of us, you're welcome. I'll give you a little prize. So here's mine. I moved to a new community, and I was told the best way to get involved with the people around you is get active. And I met an elderly gentleman. He was maybe 20 years older and was telling me he was going to a ballroom dancing. And I thought, oh, well, that's one way. So I got all dressed up. He said he'd come get me. And I had a velvet coat, long, and I thought, ooh, I look okay, I think, a little nice flowy skirt. And at that time we had the lace stockings. I put those on, And I walk in and I go, oh my God, this is formal. He never said anything about a formal evening. Everybody in tux, and I'm doing an inventory. And I thought, well, I guess I'll manage. So I took my velvet coat off, slung it over my arm, signed in, turned around. Somebody taps me on the shoulder. Ma'am, your whole derriere is exposed. Initial reaction was, oh. I was ready to leave. I got around the corner. There was a couch there, and I just fell into it. Then I start chuckling a little bit. And then I really started laughing because I realized the little man that came with me had no clue what had happened. And I just laughed and laughed, and suddenly something inside just opened up in the sense, it's okay. When I went back in, it was fine, but that initial. Anyway, break into groups of 5 for the moment. Just take a minute or two. A funny story, if you don't have one, it's okay. But just share, and then between you, decide who maybe's got a funny story if you'd like to share for all of us. All right, go for it. What is the most embarrassing? Maybe you never even told anyone about it. That's okay, too. We're with strangers.
saying this?
No, because in the second one, it was something about,
I'll have one more little one to do.
Okay,
I'm gonna give
We're
them
good.
all the red nose,
okay.
and
Yeah, I gotta run down and go get a shirt. I'm dying.
well, why don't you go do that?
I'm gonna go do it. I'm gonna tell Rachel.
Yeah, go do it, and I'll help whatever needs helping too.
But it would show you if somebody came in.
Take another minute or two for one more. You done? And then decide at your table who might like to share if they've got a really funny one, if you want to. Just think about it.
so it wasn't funny at the time. After now it's funny, but it wasn't funny at the time. 2 days later, she was
So anybody want to share one? Somebody want to share at this table? No. You're good? Anybody here? Anybody here? You know what? It's good practice. Because, don't hide it. It's such wonderful material. If you can laugh at yourself. Yes, and again, it's generosity.
I have one for you.
Okay.
When I was in the service, I worked in the education office at Andrews Air Force Base outside of D.C. And I used to give briefings to all the new people on base. So we had this room. There were probably 70, 80 people there. And I get up in front of the group, introduce myself, and one of the guys in the front row, and this is both men and women in the group, one of the guys in the front row says, "Hey, Sergeant, your zipper's open." So what do I say? Now that I have your attention.
You want to pass this down to him? One more? One more? You good? Yes.
I have a very crazy brother, and we were at a funeral. He's a year younger than I am. We were at this funeral, and he calls me over. A whole bunch of guys standing with him, people I didn't even know. He says, "Come on over." So I go over, and he puts his arm around me, and he says, "I'd like you guys to meet my mother."
Oh, that's. Oh.
Did you say, "Oh, you're adopted"?
That's a good one.
That is a good one.
I never can think that quick. So this exercise is about really just sharing your gaffes. Don't be afraid to do it. I remember my sister, we were in a car and we were following a truck because we were going to go to this restaurant and following her daughter. And we were so busy talking that we end up suddenly realizing We were following somebody totally different, some Mexican gal. She said, oh, don't tell anybody. I told everybody. You know, yes. So, whoops. Anyway, the last one is this one here. Choose not to take yourself so seriously. And remember what Mae West said, too much of a good thing can be wonderful. So I'll share one quick story and then we'll do a little fun thing. I had to do a really short presentation for the Women's Club, the Bethesda Women's Club out in Washington, D.C. They were all very hoity-toity and very professional. And just as I finished, I gave them all a red nose and I left. A few weeks later, I don't know, it was a month or so later, one of the women called me and they said, I'm very grateful. She said, I was in a road rage incident. I totally forgot everything. She said, right, you know where that box is right beside the steering wheel where you throw all your junk in? They had come to a stop sign, were ready to get into it. She was just at that borderline, almost losing it. She looked down. She put the red nose on her nose and looked at the guy. Well, just that shift, she lost that urge to go into it. And there is a saying, don't mess with the crazy. And obviously he looked at her and he thought, oh, she's crazy. So I'm going to give you all a red nose, and I want you to put it on and find someone and say to them 3 times, I choose not to take myself so seriously. That a deal? All right, pass them around. Here you go. One each. You know, Elizabeth Kubler-Ross once said, she was the one that wrote on death and dying, and she said the number one thing people told her when they were dying is they wished they hadn't taken life so seriously. You're not immune, girlfriend.
I have one.
Oh, you have? Well, put it on. Put it on.
Or maybe 2 more. I definitely need one.
I choose not to take myself so seriously.
Okay, ready? 1, Ginny, you're in the picture. 3.
We'll be on news on.
Yes, perfect.
Any last minute questions? Any questions from anybody? Otherwise, be on your merry way and remember to laugh.
I would love to take a moment. Thank you so much, Allou, for being here. Nancy, yes, amazing. As Nancy said, next month we are going to be hosting an open house at our office, which is right next to Starbucks. 10 to noon, we'll have brunchy things there, little mimosas, coffee. Oh gosh, first Tuesday. Let me December 2nd. First Tuesday, December 2nd. And then also on your table, we are still doing our Right Sizing Santa Barbara Club monthly. Krista's here. She is our amazing host. And you know, we just get together at 9 to 10 at our office over by Starbucks. We come up with, you know, different things that we want to clean in our house. It's a beautiful support group. Sometimes we go off topic, which is even more fun.